So I started with the pure square. The first row is either blue or red, and I'm doing blue. I'm going to put some white down, and I want to put enough down to make 1, 2, 3 squares. That's more than enough. So I could scoop some back in even. Then I can rinse off my brush in the water cup. Then what I want to do is get that water off. So I'm going to squeeze it. No water. Then I'm going to get some of my blue and put it out. I don't need a lot, but I am going to do some shades with the blue too. So I'll put out about that much and see if it's enough. I can always get more. I'm going to go like this to get the paint off my brush. Then get it in the water. Get it off the ferrule, the silver part. And then get all that water off. So now the first one is mostly blue with a little bit of white. So I'm going to start with the mostly white, and I'm going to pull enough to do a whole square right over here and see how that goes. I want just a tiny amount of blue. Let's see if I can change it just a little. Okay, so already it's changed, but it seems pretty watery, so I want to make sure that I make enough to make it opaque as possible. So this is a nice tint. It's the lightest possible tint, I think. And if you want to keep it that light, you can, or you can add a little bit more. So I'm going to do one tint with a little bit more blue over here, so we can do both and you can see and compare which one you like better. All right, I kind of like this one better, but it depends on what you're using it for. When we paint our eyes, I started with a tint of blue in the white of the eye, and that really looked nice. So I might want to use that lightest one, so it's almost pure white. Pure white itself is very flat. That's why artists add color to white and black. Okay, so I like this one better. You may like the other one better. Either one would be great for tint number 1. So I'm going to start in, actually tint number 3. Tint number 1 has mostly blue. So I'm going to start right here, resting my hand, tip of the brush here, and move towards myself with just my fingers. I got a big fat brush, so if you get a smaller one, it might be easier to do the corners, but you'll see what works best for you. You may even try 2. Okay, rest your hand. I'm going to get a little bit of that at the tip of the brush. There we go. Tip of the brush on the top inside of the shape and just glide the paint towards myself. Then I turn so I can go in the shape. We're practicing for those shapes you made on your mandala wedge design. Rest my hand. If I get the paint off there, I can bring it right up to the edge and just glide the paint down by moving your fingers towards yourself. We don't want it to be too thick, but we want it to be as opaque as possible. All right, so I'm going to dip again, or scoop it up because it's not a hole to dip into. So scoop it up, tip of my brush on the top. That's quite a bit, and then I'm going to glide it. So now I can smooth it out. This one was way easier to get opaque than my pure blue. The pure blue has a lot more water in it than the tint of blue. So as you work with these tints, you'll figure it out. Now I'm taking just a little bit of paint on the brush, and I want to smooth this out, take some of that paint off so it doesn't cake up too much, and then it's going to be pretty nice. Okay, so since I didn't use my hand resting, that got a little wobbly. So pay attention to those things as you're learning. And our goal is to try to make the edge just right. So I'm going to get a different brush, the type that has a point. This one's not very pointy. This one's a little pointier, not really. And I'm going to go back up to the top left, move my fingers only, and I have a ton of control to make that edge. I'm going to finish the edges so they're all even. Practicing for that big mandala. And lots of people have very intricate designs in there. Look what I did. This is fun. So that's why Miss A says always get 2 paper towels, because fun things happen. All right. So now I need to make the 2 tints in between. So I've made the darkest one and the lightest one. Now I want to fill the other 2. Okay, remember I said you could have had an even lighter one if you want. It's up to you which one you want. This one's about as dark as it should go. All right, so now I'm going to add to my white. And the blue I already made because I'm all done. I'm going to add some more blue. And I'm going to mix it all in one area, not spread it around the whole thing, because then you only make enough for what you need. Okay, this is getting slightly darker, but I'm going to do even a teeny bit more because we're only doing 3 tints. You could do 10 tints if you wanted, but for this exercise, I just want you to get the experience to do 3 very different tints, a dark one, a very light one, and a medium one. Then on your paintings, you're going to choose if you want to use a different tint than those 3. So these are all values, just like we did value skills semester 1 with pencil and colored pencil. We're doing them with paint. All right, so I like this, and it's getting fairly dark already. I'm going to put a little more white back in there and move it around, mix it nice and good so it's not at all marbled. Now I'm going to put it in a little pile here so I can keep dipping from it. All right, so now I'm going to move this over, put my hand down, rest it nice and steady there. Tip of the brush, top left, and just glide my brush. Okay. Now I'm going to turn the paper so I can always paint towards myself. I dipped again. I'm going to move my palette. Hand resting. Tip of the brush, top inside, opposite of your hand. So if you're left-handed, you would do it on the right side. Since I'm right-handed, I'm doing it on the left side. Hand resting, tip of the brush, and glide. Yeah, this paintbrush seems to be my favorite. I'll try and get these out for you guys, as many as possible. Hand, resting, lots of control, just moving my fingers. Pretty soon you'll be going like this and that for whatever shape you're doing. Okay, now I've got the inside. I dipped again, and this is coming out pretty smooth. You want to flatten it out, make it nice and smooth, even, and opaque. Also try to get your edges really nice. Okay, so my third one, next to my pure, in between that value and this value, I'm going to add more blue. So this one is going to be a lot of blue. but we want to see a slight change. And you're going to see some beautiful different shades of blue as you make it. You can make a whole line of them, make 10 or as many as you can for extra credit, or just practice if you want. Okay, so this is very different than that. I could even add a little bit more. So as long as the three are very different, then you're getting the right amount of practice for what we're doing. Okay, this is good. I'm gonna make a pile of it that I could scoop into. And I don't wanna make 1,000,000 pounds of one thing. I just want as much as I need. Okay, tip of my brush, you guessed it, top inside left. Just glide that paint. If you use a dry brush, it'll take too long. And we will be surfing in the ocean on summer vacation by the time you're done. Rest your hand, tip of the brush, and glide that paint with your finger movement only. I can see that my edge right there went kind of over. So we're trying to make it get better and better. By the end of the squares, hopefully, our technique will be really great and not wobbly. Okay, so lots of control. My brush is going straight down. And dip again. Rest my hand. Tip of the brush. I'm gonna go right up on top of that. There was a little hair or something. I should have moved it, but I didn't, and that's okay. All right, so now I can do these smoothing movements. Okay, so I'm gonna make this go that way. Don't have as much control as if I go like this. Rest that hand a lot and you'll get lots of control. Okay, so now I've got my 3 tints and my PURE. What am I gonna put over here? 3 shades. This starts out pretty dark. So let's try to get 3, but maybe we'll just get 2. I need to not use anything with white in it. I wanna use the pure blue. So that's why I set some aside.